Welcome back everyone. This is your guy Rajat from rainstudios.com. So today we are going to learn about event loop. So in my last video we concluded on this slide and we talked about that Node.js is an asynchronous, single-threaded and event-driven program, right? So you might be wondering that on one hand, we are talking about X cores or Y cores in the machine and being a multi-threaded ecosystem, and on other hand, we have this Node.js platform where the platform itself is single-threaded, and still we are claiming that Node.js is very efficient. So how come everything is working like that? So in this video, we are going to learn about event loop, which is an efficient mechanism which enables Node.js to be performant enough being a single-threaded application, right? So let's dive in. Okay, so here I'm going to explain you what event loop is and what it actually does using an actual JavaScript program. I'm just assuming that you are somewhat proficient enough in JavaScript. I'm not dealing with any advanced ES6 stuff, although I'm using ES6 keywords like const, etc. But I have made sure that I am not using any kind of advanced construct. And if you are not a programmer yet and you are not comfortable with JavaScript yet, maybe you can go out and just watch a few of my videos from my playlist Learn JavaScript, where I have talked about how you can get started with programming in JavaScript. So coming back to our topic, now we want to understand how event loop actually works in Node.js, right? So here is our program, right? And we have some structures here, right? So you can consider these structures as logical structures. So this is call stack. Call stack is basically a structure in the memory or the part of a memory where you're currently executing code resides, right? So if this function is executing, call stack is going to contain a pointer to this function and it is going to hold other data related to this function like the local variables, okay? And this section represents the APIs which are being provided by the platforms like the browser or the Node.js platform to us, so that our Node.js can offload some of the work to the platform or the environment. So let's suppose we have this set timeout function. So set timeout actually offloads the work to the platform. It is the platform which actually carries out the work of set timeout. And if this code is executing inside a browser, it is browser's responsibility to create a timer which runs for 10 milliseconds, and once that timer is over, it carries out its function depending on how the platform is implemented. And if it's Node.js comes with some C++ APIs which interact with your OS, okay? So once this thing is called, Node.js is going to call its C++ API. So it will be the responsibility of those C++ API to create a timer and do whatever this function is supposed to do, okay? So that is how thing works. So basically APIs are the mechanism provided to us by browser or C++ APIs in Node.js, okay? And there is this event loop. Event loop is just like a FIFO or first in first out queue, which Node.js uses to queue up the task it has to do once it has some free time. Now what do we mean by free time? When the call stack is empty, event loop is going to run and it sees that okay, the call stack is empty now, I can maybe throw some task from event queue to the call stack, and once the task is thrown into the call stack, it is going to be run by the call stack, because it is the duty of call stack that it is going to execute whatever that is there inside this call stack, okay? So that is how event loop works. It's just a little mechanism which ensures that once the call stack is empty, it is going to dequeue something from this task queue and it is going to put that dequeued item onto the call stack, and that is how event loop works. Now we are going to walk through step by step through this entire program so that you can be very sure how everything is working out exactly. Okay, so let's start that. In the first step, main is going to execute. Now the main function is put on the call stack. Okay, then we encounter this console log statement. So on call stack we are going to put console log. So console log is going to be called in the next step. So now we have two items in the call stack, and once this console.log starting main gets over, it is going to be popped and we are going to move to the second line. Okay, so let's see that. Now this item is popped and this item is pushed onto the stack. Okay, so as soon as this item gets over or the console log statement executes fully, it is going to be popped again. Now set timeout function interacted with the C++ APIs and it asks those API to start a timer for 10 milliseconds, and once that timer get over, push this callback function onto the event queue. Okay, so that is how APIs help us in doing extra tasks or tasks which we want to run in the background. So this is going to run in the background and our call stack will remain free of the timer task. Okay, so our call stack won't be blocked. So set timeout creates a timer with the help of C++ API in Node.js or with some browser API in Chrome or Firefox. Okay, and then it immediately returns. Okay, because set timeout is all about offloading or creating the timer and returning. That is it. So now our timer is running in the background and it will keep on going for like 10 milliseconds. Okay, now our set timeout returns and console.log is pushed onto the stack. Okay, once this gets over, the other console log line executes, and in a similar way we reach the end of our main function. So as you can see that call stack is empty, and after some time our timer reached its lifetime and it's been more than 10 milliseconds. So it pushes this callback function onto the event queue. Now event queue has an item and the call stack is empty, which satisfies our condition for event loop to push the item onto the call stack as we have talked earlier. Okay, so our event loop pushes the item onto the call stack. Okay, as you can see that event loop is in darker color. I wanted the darker color to imply that event loop is running and pushing the item onto the call stack. Okay, now that our item has been put or our callback has been put onto the call stack, we are going to start executing this callback function because now it is in call stack, and call stack ensure that whatever that is there in call stack, it is going to be executed. Okay, so we are at this particular line now. So callback starts executing and we reach this line. So console.log is pushed onto our call stack. Okay, but inside this we are yet again calculating a nested function. Okay, so console.log is accessing the value of a function. First we need to calculate the value of this square 25 and then console log is going to be returned. Okay, so our square function with the argument 25 is also pushed onto the stack and we are at this particular line. Okay, so we came from console log and then console log called square. So square's body is going to be executed, and since square's body comprises of only one line, so we are here at this particular stage. So you can see that we have a call stack something like this. Okay, so from this line we are going to return 625 since we have passed 25. So as you can see, our square function has returned and console.log now has a static value or the result from our function operation. Now console log can output 625 and return. Okay, as you can see that our console log has also returned and we have reached the end of our callback function and we have successfully completed the execution of our callback function as well. And as you can see that we have reached the conclusion of our program. Our call stack is empty. There is nothing inside our event queue. So our program is fully executed, right? So that is it. That is how event loop along with the APIs provided by the platform ensures that our call stack is never busy, and it is always advised that we try to avoid the situation or the program where we put something that keeps on running onto the call stack and we somehow end up with a call stack which is always busy. So we always have to avoid writing such type of programs, right? So whatever you want to do, you need to put that thing into background using set timeouts methods. Okay, so that is how Node ensures that it is fast enough using event loop. Now this video is heavily inspired by a YouTube video by a guy Philip Roberts, and I would request you all to check his video out because whatever I have missed he has covered in his video. Okay, so I have give you a basic overview regarding the event loop, but if you want to dig deep into the working of event loop and into some other scenarios as well, this is the video you should check out. I request you all to go and check that out if you want to dig deep into the event loop. Okay, so with that we have reached to the conclusion of our video. In my next video we are going to learn about Node.js modules and how you can easily break up your programs into small chunks known as modules so that maintenance of the code is far more easier as compared to writing everything in a single script. Okay, so till next time, and make sure you subscribe to this channel because I produce weekly computer related stuff like computer tutorials, programming tutorials and career advice related to software industry. So thank you all for the time. Take care. Bye bye.